So basically today we're going to study a very important topic of periodontology subject, which is trauma from occlusion. Here we are studying actually trauma specifically that occurs from occlusion and that cause the traumatic occlusion or occlusive trauma. So let's start it. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Okay. Now basically to get into this chapter, first you should know the knowledge of normal periodontium, the resistance to impact of occlusive forces. This is an transmission of occlusive forces. These last two I have also teach in my videos. You can go and check. Basically these are the functions of the periodontium. Okay. So basically always remember actually when there is actually tension, so there is actually formation of bone. This is very important. And when there is a pressure, so there is resorption of bone. You can also this see in the picture. Now here periodontium. Here we are seeing that periodontium is basically attempts to accommodate to the forces that is exerted on the crown. Mean the periodontium has the ability or capability to accommodate the forces. Accommodate means it has the capacity to tolerate the forces that is exerted on the crown. Now, what responses of the periodontium do when the forces are up? Means response of periodontium. Response of periodontium depends on the basically of these forces here on these four factors. The response of periodontium depends on these variable forces like what is the magnitude of force, what is the direction of force, what is the duration, for how much time and how frequently it is exerted. Magnitude, very important point. Magnitude of occlusive force is increased, so the periodontium responds with the widening of pedial space and the number and width of the pedial fibers increase and increase in the density of alveolar bone. So basically here they are saying when when magnitude is high, okay, when magnitude is high, so remember this is actually your tooth, okay. Here what happened, there is actually axial force is applied, okay, axial force is applied to it, okay. So the space will become wide, there will be more increased number of the periodontal fibers and there will be increased density of the alveolar bone, okay. Then direction, when you change the direction of occlusive forces, so what happens in the periodontium, within the periodontium the same forces will be will reorient or rearrange themselves, okay. Their stress and their strain mean the change in the length and the stress which is applied will be reoriented and rearranged within the periodontium. The duration and frequency is also very important because it affects the alveolar bone. When there is a constant pressure on the bone, so it is more injurious than the intermediate force. Definitely, when you are a continuous force in anything, so that becomes injurious as compared when you give in intervals of time. Now, definition. When occlusive forces are exceed the adaptive capacity of tissues, so this causes tissue injury. The resultant injury is termed trauma from occlusion, या traumatism या occlusive trauma. Okay. So when the forces are exceed from the capacity of the tissues, so it causes injury, and this injury is basically is trauma from occlusion, traumatism or occlusive trauma we call it. Basically this is also one of the type of trauma, okay. It is the one of the type of trauma like secondary trauma, that is actually when the forces are exceeded from the capacity of the tissue, okay. Trauma from occlusion refers to the tissue injury, not the occlusive forces. So here what they are saying, this is basically means that we can consider trauma from occlusion when it causes actually the tissue injury. Okay, means those occlusive forces that are capable of causing tissue injury, we consider them trauma from occlusion, not the normal occlusion that we actually so we will consider it. No, we will not consider the normal occlusion. Okay, just we will consider that occlusion that caused the trauma. An occlusion that produced such an injury is called traumatic occlusion. Okay, means that occlusion that actually produces the tissue injury is called traumatic occlusion. Now again, excessive occlusive forces may also disrupt the function of masticatory organ. So when there is excessive forces or excessive masticatory occlusive forces, so basically it disrupts the muscles of mastication, it affects your TMJ, then it also basically produces excessive tooth wear, means atresion. Okay, basically